Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell here in the Dice Tower. Welcome to Week in Review, a video that we do each week where we tell you all the different videos that we put out over the past week. Then you're like, oh, I would like to see the full review of Beer and Bread. Well, good news. We put links to each of the things we talk about in the description of this video, so let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm Garcia. Here's what I did last week. So I did a ranking of all the characters in Marvel Dice Throne, ranking them in the order in which I like to have fun playing them. So check that out and give me your own thoughts on those. And then I reviewed Beer and Bread, which I gave a 7 to. I thought it was a really interesting game. It's very engaging, lots of little combos. Great head-to-head two-player game, but there are probably one or two or maybe even three too many rules in there. It could have been streamlined a little bit. It could have been cleaned up and I think lost none of the interest. As it is, I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice return to form, in my mind anyway, for kind of a two-player Cosmos line game. It's not, but it feels like that, and so I really enjoyed that. I reviewed Expedition, which I gave an 8 to. This is a deck-building game with a really neat twist, in which you do not shuffle up your discard pile into a new deck, as you do in pretty much every deck-building game. No, in this one you need to come back to camp, and then you get to do that and purchase cards at that point. So you have one deck pass through to explore and try to make it to the end of this forested area, or I guess, region, and find relics and dig them up, and that's how you win. I really like it. Very clever, quick-paced, enjoyable game, lovely artwork, very whimsical. The whole thing is a wonderful package. On the flip side of that, I don't think it scales very well. You really want 3 players, 4 players for this. 2-player mode, not as good. Solo, I hear not as good. So there you go, that's Expedition. And then lastly, Marvel Zombies, a zombicide game, which I rated a 9 out of 10. I really like this one. They managed to bring in just the best parts of zombicide. Clean up a lot of fiddly bits that have been dragged through all the zombicide games in the past, and some of them have shed different ideas and brought in new ones and sort of streamlined and updated the system. I think this is the biggest leap forward they've had in a long time. Marvel Zombies, of course, gives you all the Marvel goodness you want, flips the whole game on its head, in fact, and casts you as the zombies, eating S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and attacking the superheroes that have not turned into zombies, so that's fun. But the rules are so streamlined. So many of the issues that have come in the past are simply not there. So if you are someone who's played Zombicide in the past and you thought, it's a little clunky, I wish they would clean this up a little bit, and you like Marvel, this is a home run. So definitely check this one out. And that's it for me. I'll see you on the next one.
All right, this week I took a look at 2 different games. First up, I took a look at Marvel Zombies. I had reviewed in the past the Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance and found this game good, but I wanted more out of it. And so I think I had some anticipation going into this Marvel Zombies from CMON, the full edition. And unfortunately, it fell a little flat for me. I really like the idea of playing as the zombies, and so I think for that it definitely boosted the score. I think that there is much cleaner than previous Zombicide editions. It's quick to get to the table. I couldn't quite go into the excellence. I just wanted a little bit more. I also found the game to be very hard and have concerns that I'll never be able to beat it. So Marvel Zombies, I came in at a 7.5. Still really recommend it. Very happy to play it and get it to the table again, but not quite the seal of excellence that I was hoping for in this game. I also took a look at Expedition. So on the flip side of this, I came in at an 8 for this one. This one completely caught me off guard. It is a language-independent cards, and so it comes with English rules in it, but all the cards are going to be in Korean. I felt that the translation was great on this game. It was easy to get to the table. My only hang-up on it was I think that it's not a 2 to 4 player or 1 to 4 player game. I think it is a 3 or 4 player game. And even at that, 3 is a pretty good sweet point in the player count that I would want for that. So for Expedition, 8, another one I'm looking forward to getting to the table. Let's keep it going.
This week I reviewed Splendor Duel, the 2-player spin-off of Splendor. It's a smaller box, slightly smaller components, but you're still collecting gems to spend for cards. It's got that really fun engine building with some twists, and I gave it 8 out of 10.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris, and I review games. 3 of them this week. First off was Gartenbau with a T. This is a German word. I gave this one a 6. It's a tile laying game. In fact, it's 3 layers of tile laying, and it sounds like it should be fun. It's okay. It's too basic on the basic mode, and then kind of you can kind of lock up an AP a little bit for such a light game when you play with a lot of the advanced mode and the variants and the drafting and stuff. It's okay, so it's a 6. Next up, Charioteer. I gave an 8. This is a racing game from GMT Games. It actually has nice production, terrible art, but great production, and a really fun, quick to, once you get the card play, the racing system, it's really great. I wish this were a little more way to cycle out cards, but you're doing some interesting symbol matching. You're leveling up different ways of movement. There's 4 different types, and they're all very neat. I really like this one, so an 8 from me. Charioteer, a great racing game. And then lastly, Beer and Bread. I gave an 8.5, the seal of excellence to this wonderful, small, compact 2-player game, head-to-head, where some rounds you're drafting with each other, other rounds you are keeping cards in hand, but there's a little market where you can kind of mix them up between your hand and there. You're trying to make the most points between Beer and Bread, score the lower of them. So many good mechanisms. I really like it. A nice, tight package. Really recommend this one. 8.5 from me for Beer and Bread. An 8.5 for both Beer and Bread. Anyway, I'm Chris. I'm out.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yee, and this week I reviewed 2 different games. The first one is Gartenbau. I gave this a 6.5. I was so excited for this game. I feel like I've been waiting forever for it. It is a tile placement flower game, and I have to say that it didn't quite meet my expectations. So go ahead and watch that review if you're curious about that. The second game is Beer and Bread. And Beer and Bread I gave a 7. It's a little 2-player Euro game. I really enjoy the multi-use cards and the resource management, but there are some aspects of it that it just didn't quite hit for me. But overall, I did give it a 7 because I think I enjoyed it as a whole, and it's something that I would definitely teach again, share with somebody, and those kind of things. So that's what I reviewed this week.
Hey there, everybody. It's Mike DeLisio, and this week I was a part of one review. I took a look at Expedition, which is a game coming from Korea Board Games, and it is a delightful little deck building game with a couple of little twists that really make it stand apart from others that I've played. I gave this an 8 out of 10, a strong recommendation. The main twist in this game is that when your deck runs out, the only way you can replenish it and perhaps buy new cards for your deck is that you have to come back to a home base. So the idea is that you are traveling out on this map of hex tiles, you're playing cards to allow you to move, and perhaps digging up treasure and gold that you can use to buy new cards, but you're essentially trying to find relics to win the game. And the kind of push-pull of when to go back to the home base and reshuffle your deck and get new cards, and when not to, and when to kind of push things and see if you can go a little further on your expedition. Really smart, a very clever little game, kind of an unassuming game with a couple of component issues, but nothing too severe. You could check out the review to get more thoughts on that. All right, well, that's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, so for me, I took a look at a bunch of games about nature. The Gardens, which is a tile drafting, laying game. It's fine. It's an okay game. I feel like the graphic design actually takes a little bit away from the game and usability-wise. It's okay. 6 out of 10. Queensland. This is a game about stopping frogs, which sounds cool. Has a really boring look to the game. And the game itself, again, is okay. Another 6 out of 10. Gartenbau. There's a lot of things I like about this game, drafting and putting things out, but it felt a little constrictive to me, and there was a few usability things with this one also. I like the theme of flowers and stuff. I don't mind that at all, but this one, it felt like there was just a smidge missing, so 6.5. Meat Master and Salad Master. These are fun little games about putting meat or fruit and vegetables in a row, trying to put out the one with the most calories or the least carbohydrates or whatever. It's fine, but it's kind of a one-time play, so I gave it a 6.5. Sorcerer's Arena, Thrills and Chills. This one gets a 7 from me, adding a bunch of cool new characters to that game. Break Cube. This is a deduction game. I gave it a 7. It's fun, but you have to realize it's a very, very light deduction with a hint of memory thrown in the mix. Beer and Bread. This is a cool new 2-player game, which feels like it's one of the old Cosmos 2-player games, but it looks good. It's fast and fun. With some really cool choices and a neat little engine at your building. 8 out of 10. Charioteer. This is a racing game with chariots, which is, while it's visually not particularly beautiful, it's pretty ugly and stark, but the gameplay itself is really, really fun. A fun chariot racing game, 8 out of 10. Les Apaches de Paris. This is a area control style game, but you don't know what you're fighting for, or you kind of know what you're fighting for. It's a really kind of interesting back and forth game, 8 out of 10. And Marvel Zombies, another 8 out of 10. I have a lot of those. Marvel Zombies will probably increase. I'm basing this just on the base box, but because of the plug and play nature of the game, I know I'll like it a lot more when I have like 50 heroes to pick from and villains and sidekicks and all that sort of thing. But as it is, it's my current favorite version of Zombicide. Yes, part of that is the fact that it's Marvel, but it's also fast and fun and kick the door in and roll dice, which I also tend to like. The big videos we did this week, of course, were the top 100 games of all time, from 50 to 1. We did 10 each day from Monday to Friday. I hope you enjoyed those. And we also did our live shows. We did Board Game Breakfast, Board Game Smorgasbord, crowd surfing, and we put up our cruise blog. So there's a lot of different things. I hope you enjoy all of it. Either way, it's time to start another week. Here it is, February of 2023. Thanks for watching the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been Week in Review.